Great, go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Thierry Mallevaey, and we are here today to tell you a little bit about some of the research opportunities that we have in the Department of Immunology at U of T at the undergraduate level, and also to tell you a little bit about the graduate programs that we offer in immunology. So again, my name is Thierry Mallevaey. I am the Associate Chair Graduate Studies. And with me, I have Dr. Singh, who is the Associate Chair Undergraduate Studies. We also have Kate Sedor, who is our Educational Programs Coordinator, and Dr. Korosh Kianizad, who is the Manager of our Master's Program and some of the other research opportunities we have in the department. So I just wanted to start by describing the department a little bit. So it's a city-wide academic unit. So some of our faculty are within the medical sciences building, but a lot of us are also spread throughout the city, affiliated with the research hospital research institutes. We offer training programs at both the undergraduate, graduate, and postdoctoral level. And the department is probably the leading immunology program within Canada. So here, the only thing I wanted to say on this slide is that we're a pretty big program. We have about 1,100 undergraduate students, about 120 graduate students, and over 200 postdoctoral fellows within the department. We have about 60 to 70 faculty members, and again, they are spread in different location and research institutes, some at the Hospital for Sick Children, some at the Medical Sciences Building, Mount Sinai, UHN, and so on and so on. So it's really a department, a unit that is integrated both within the university, but also the hospitals within the city of Toronto. So I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Singh, who is going to tell you a little bit about our undergraduate research opportunities.
So I do see a lot of familiar undergraduate students in the audience, so thank you all for joining. And I imagine if you're an undergraduate student thinking about our graduate program, you're probably asking yourselves, how can I best prepare? And so one way in which you can do that is through our undergraduate research opportunities, the first two of which are course-based. So we offer two courses, IMM 385 as well as IMM 450 at the third and fourth year level. Both of these courses are research projects in immunology. And so what that means for you as a student is you have the opportunity to conduct a research project from experimental design, data analysis, literature review, interacting and collaborating with lab members. And you get to do all that in the context of a lab and under the supervision of one of our immunology faculty members. If you are starting out, I highly recommend IM 385. Most students in that course, they are often paired with somebody more senior in the lab, and they have the opportunity to have more guidance and support. And then as you go into your fourth year, if you are looking to sort of bridge into some research independence, you do have the opportunity to do some independent work on your own and in conjunction with your lab mentors. Now, for both of these courses, we do require an application or a ballot. And as part of this application, we ask you about your research intent, some of your goals. We take a look at your academic history. And really what we want to hear from you is, why are you interested in immunology, and why are you interested in maybe a specific field in immunology or a specific lab in immunology? And these applications typically open in May. We do have more information on our website, and this is constantly updated. Can we have next slide, please? And as part of this application, if you have a supervisor, you're able to identify that supervisor. Now, often students ask us, well, do I need my own supervisor to participate in these courses? Our quick answer is no, but we do highly recommend it. And the reason we recommend it is because these research opportunities are very much about you and you being able to pursue your interests. And so we recommend that you take a look at the different research that faculty members are conducting, align your interests with their interests, and perhaps find your own supervisor so that you're able to get the most out of your research opportunity. And when you're doing this, there are a ton of ways to do this, but my biggest piece of advice is make these interactions personal with our faculty members. So you may have classes with some of our faculty members. Feel free to approach them after class, see them during office hours. But if you've never interacted with this faculty member and you're saying, okay, whoa, this is really cool, you can also reach out to them over email. And in that email, you really want to express why them and why their research group. Now, in addition to these two research project courses, we also offer a summer research program opportunity. This is a 12-week research placement that happens May to July of every year. For this, we do require you to find a supervisor on your own. So you don't have to fill out a ballot or an application, but we do want to see that you've matched yourself with a supervisor. And typically we offer these opportunities to students in their lower years, so open to third-year students or earlier, but we do make some exceptions for fourth-year students who are looking to pursue our summer research program, specifically if they're open to or interested in graduate studies thereafter. So if this is something you're interested in, look out for more details on our website in January of next year. And with that, these are the opportunities we have to best prepare you for our graduate programs, and I'll hand it back to Dr. Mallevaey.
Thanks, Jasti. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the graduate programs that we offer in the department. So we basically have two graduate programs or two streams, one of them being a master's in applied immunology, and the other one being a PhD in fundamental immunology. So the master's, what's important to remember here is the master that we offer is a non-thesis based master. So you will not have to write a thesis at the end. So it is really focused on coursework as well as research at the bench without the constraints of having to write a thesis at the end. The PhD, and it's typically 2 years in duration, so it has a finite duration. The PhD program is more of an open program that is going to take you on average 5 to 6 years to complete. And this is a thesis-based PhD program, of course. What's important to know here is that you do not need a master's in order to apply to the PhD program and do a PhD program. There is a qualifying exam during the process that I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes. So let's talk about first about the Master's in Applied Immunology. So how is this program different? So it has a fixed duration. So, and there is two different streams of students. There is regular entry student and advanced stream students. So a maximum duration of 6 terms, which is 24 months, or four terms for advanced standing students, which I'm going to explain. You do not have to write a thesis, and the research that you're conducting, it's not necessarily hypothesis-driven. I'm going to talk about that later. So a question that we get is that, do I get to work in a lab if I do a master's in applied immunology? And the answer is yes, it's a resounding yes. And this is actually most of what you're going to do during those 2 years in the program. The research project, when we started this program, started with not necessarily hypothesis-driven research. So it could be in the line of refining an assay in a particular lab or a technique, or develop an assay that would be useful for a graduate student or somebody else in the lab. But over the years, it has really evolved, and we have really a continuum of type of research projects that can go from more of an assay development or refinement to a full research question that is hypothesis driven. And that really depends on the lab that you're in. At the end of the term, you will not write a thesis, but you will write a report, and you will have that will summarize your research, your findings, and you will also give an oral presentation that will be evaluated. Sorry. So how long is the program? So I mentioned that there is two different streams. So there is the standard entry. So typically this is for non-U of T undergraduate students or students that didn't take the required courses during their undergraduate degrees. And for those students, the duration of the program is going to be 2 years. So advanced standing students, the duration is going to be a little bit shorter, 16 months. And who are those students? So those are U of T students, U of T undergraduate students that have completed certain requirements as part of their undergraduate degrees that are required for the completion of the master's program. And this is the course that is IMM 450, which is a research course, as well as 2 of courses among that list. At the end of the program, the two streams, standard entry and advanced standing, include an optional practical placement during the final summer term, and that can be on campus in the lab in which you have conducted the research for your master's program, and that can also be off campus in industry or somewhere else based on what you are able to find and what you want to do. So what can I do with a master's in applied immunology? So this is what some of our students have done after completing the program. So some of those students have used this program as a pathway or a bridge towards our PhD study program. Some have gone to medical school. One of my former applied master students just joined medical school in Ireland. And you can see that the bulk of our students are joining the workforce in the biomedical industry or doing research. Some of them are even funded their own companies. So there is really a variety of things that you can do with this degree in hand. So what kind of funding comes with this applied master? So the funding comes from different sources. And what's important to realize is that it only covers, the stipend only covers the tuition and the fees. It doesn't have currently a living allowance, and it is paid by the department and the supervisor. The practical placement, which is optional at the end of the degree, is paid normally. So you will receive a stipend of roughly $2,500 a month if you are on campus or within a U of T affiliated lab. If you are doing this placement off campus, that can vary based on where you are. So now I'm going to switch to the PhD in fundamental immunology, which is a little bit different. So the goal is really to recruit smart students and train them and guide them to become fully independent research scientists. So it is thesis-based. So it takes about 5 to 6 years on average, but it can vary a little bit. And you are supposed to provide a body of work that amounts to research of publishable quality, typically a minimum of 2 data chapters that amount roughly to 2 publications or 2 publication equivalents, and that takes a certain amount of time. So this is roughly the timeline of the PhD. I'm not going to describe everything. I just want to make 2 points here. So when you apply to our PhD program, you do not need to secure a supervisor at this stage. What you do is that if you are invited to the program, the first term of your degree, you're going to have the opportunity to rotate in up to 3 different labs for a duration of 1 month each in order to see what would be a good fit for you as far as supervisor and research project. And only after this rotation period, in agreement with a supervisor, you can decide to join a particular lab. The second point I wanted to make here is that at the 18-month time mark, you will pass a qualification exam, which would allow you to achieve candidacy. And some students that fail the PhD qualification at this stage will have the opportunity to live with a master, and only those who complete this exam are going to go on and finish their PhD. And I have to say that the overwhelming majority of students pass successfully this qualification exam and go on to graduate with a PhD. So what type of funding comes with the PhD? So all PhD students receive a guaranteed annual stipend of approximately $33,000. And that includes a living allowance of about $25,000 and funds to cover tuition and fees of about $8,000. What's important to know is that this stipend and also the tuition is the same for international and domestic students. It used to be different, but now that's what it is. So how do I apply and how do I get admitted into those 2 programs? So here you have the requirements for both the PhD program here and the master's program. So for the PhD, you need at least an A- in the final 2 years of your undergraduate degree in life sciences. You need typically a sound knowledge in immunology, but we have admitted in the past students that have switched fields between their undergraduate and graduate degrees. And in that case, your grades, your research experience, and also your motivation, what you want to do, comes a long way. And we typically are looking for students that already have a strong research experience as undergraduate students. The master's in applied immunology, you need a minimum of a B+ in the final 2 years of your undergraduate life sciences bachelor's. You need a little bit of knowledge in immunology, of course, and some lab experience is, of course, welcome. So those applications, I have to say, are stringently reviewed by committees, and the committee is different for the two streams of program, but students are selected by faculty members. What makes your application dossier, if you wish, you're going to need a resume, you're going to need a letter of intent, which is a very important component of the application, which allows you to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing, and what you want to do in the future, and why you think immunology is for you, why you think this program is for you. You're going to need 3 letters of references that from people who are very familiar with your work, and that's the best case scenario, people that know your academic and research capabilities. Those are the best letters of reference. And you're also going to need a transcript. So how do I apply? You apply through the School of Graduate Studies website, and there is more information about the procedure on how to apply on this website here. Important deadlines. So application for the PhD program and the standard entry master's program are January 15, 2022. And for the advanced standing, which is a little bit later, it's going to be March 1st, 2022. And those are the due dates, the deadlines. So if you need assistance on the application procedure, or if you have questions about the program, the research, and how things are happening, you can contact Kate Sador, our Educational Programs Coordinator, and this is our email address. If you have specific questions about the master's program, you need to contact Dr. Kianizad at this email address. You can also contact myself and contact me and Dr. Singh as well. All our contact information is on our Immunology website. And that's all I had for you today. I believe we have quite a bit of time for questions, if you guys have any questions.
There's a question in the Q&A. There's 2.
All right. So, anonymous attendee. If I plan to take a few years off and then apply for MSc apply program to the requirement courses, still count? To apply. I believe Korosh can probably answer that question. I believe that your requirements will still stand.
That's right, Thierry. So when you've completed those, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's right. So once you complete 450 and the 2 of the 4, you've met the requirements. So if you start back up again, you can still apply for advanced standing. The key point to remember is you have to secure a supervisor as a requirement of your application. So you just have to go and secure your supervisor at the time you apply. Normally, students just continue on in their 450 lab. So you can go back to your 450 supervisor and see if they'd be willing to host you again.
Yeah, I should have made the distinction. So if you are an advanced standing student, you need a supervisor, and typically you follow up with the PI that you've been doing research with as an undergraduate student. Correct me if I'm wrong, Korosh, but if you are standard entry master, you do not need a supervisor when you apply, correct?
That's correct, yes. So students in standard entry, basically you submit an application. We don't admit more students than there are spaces. And once you receive an offer of admission, we'll share with you a list of labs looking to recruit for the fall, and then you would spend the spring, summer to secure your supervisor. And I can also take this other question about M435. Yes, so M435 would be a good example of lab experience for the program.
Yeah. During your master's, will you be working in a lab with a supervisor? No. So Selena, there is, for the master's in applied immunology, there is no rotation. You interview with PIs, potential supervisors you're interested in working with. And when you find a supervisor, you start in that lab and there is no rotation. Rotations are only for PhD students. I thought I had a slide on this, but it seems like I didn't include it. So I want to say that in the PhD program, we recruit typically about 20 students every year. and that is based on the need from our faculty. We poll them to see how many students they would be interested in recruiting, and we do the same for the master's program. And how many students do we recruit in the master's program on average, Korosh? Is it about 20 as well?
For the fall term, it's about 12 or so. If you include the advanced standing cohort, it does come around to 20. But for the fall cohort, we usually try to stick between 10 to 12 or so, thereabouts.
Okay. I don't see any more questions for the moment. Did you guys have anything else to add or correct to what I said?
Nope, that's perfect. Thank you, Thierry. And Jess as well.
I'm gonna go back here. Just for you to look at. Right. Feel free to ask questions if you have any.
I will just add a generic comment if I could, Thierry. If you're considering doing graduate school, either with us or any other department, do consider submitting an application for scholarship for the CGSM and the OGS awards, because the applications now are for to hold the award in next academic year when you would become a graduate student. So if you're interested in grad school and are going to be aiming to start grad school in the fall, then I would highly encourage you guys to apply to the CGSM and the OGS awards. The CGSM deadline is coming up fairly soon, December 1st. So one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah. And this is especially for fourth-year undergraduate students, probably that are doing currently research, so they can write a proposal about their current research, even if it's not going to be the same when they join, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Questions? I'm doing a major, but don't have PR. Will I be considered international or domestic when I apply for your department? I believe you would be considered international, but Kate can confirm that.
Yeah, that's correct. International.
And unfortunately, the Applied Immunology program is unable to accept applications from international students, only domestic and permanent residents.
I should have added that as well in the slideshow. Thank you. So the master's students, the master's program, sorry, is only for domestic students.
Or permanent residents. Yeah,
or
domestic students, which includes citizens and PRs. That's right. I just forgot to mention this, for international students, we encourage you guys to apply to our PhD program.
Are there any further questions? Not. Feel free to message Jastaran and Thierry.
Just gonna go back.
Yep.
Yeah. So go on our website. Everybody's listed in there. You go on the graduate section. You're gonna find our contact information, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any question in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.